Well, being on the pig's back seems easy enough for the Prime Minister.
I'm retiring on $2,000 a week.
Whereas it's not so easy for us, is it? Getting $2,000 per week coming into our bank accounts when we retire would be worthwhile. However, it's the expectation that most of us have that we could only dream about or imagine, because in reality, it's just not going to happen. Hi, my name's Terry Saltness, and what I'd like to talk to you today about is how you can be on the pig's back as well. How would you like to be in the financial position in a few years' time where your assets you've accumulated will earn more income per day than you can in your chosen job? You'd no longer have to worry about working until the day you died, or perhaps you could pursue other interests that you'd enjoy. Imagine being in that comfortable, safe position where you knew for a fact that you could help your family instead of being a burden on them. Retirement would be a time of reward when you could relax and enjoy the fruits of your labours. It shouldn't be a time of embarrassment of having to carry on working when you no longer want to or even can. You are solely responsible today for your future tomorrow, and let's be honest with ourselves. You know it's true. The hardest part for most people is knowing how to get started. How much will I really need, and what do I need to do first? What will the costs be, and who will I trust? These are reasonable questions that reasonable people ask. Let's begin with who to trust. And the answer is, trust yourself. Get started by gathering information you need to make informed decisions and then make them. A small amount of effort to educate yourself now will save you years of penny pinching later on. After all, isn't that the advice you give to your children? Let's begin by defining what's waiting for us around the corner. I want to educate you firstly by taking you to the government Centrelink pension page. Are you on the page? Great. For most of us, if we live on our own today, we'd be receiving $689 a fortnight or $344 a week. If we're a couple, then it's $1,038 a fortnight or $519 a week. Not a great deal of money, is it? Now let's go to the Government Money Smart site, which contains the government superannuation calculator. First we'll click on Tools and Resources, and then we'll click on the pop down to the calculators and click the Retirement Calculator, the one with How to Boost Your Super. Then scroll down the page to the blue Start button and press it. Let's look at entering our information into the calculator. I'll enter in a sample couple for you. We'll call them Mr. and Mrs. Average. Just an average couple on an average income with average supers. You get the picture. Mr. Average is 50 years old and would like to retire at 65. He has an income of $55,000 with a super balance of $80,000. He makes no extra contributions. He owns or is in the process of owning his own home and has a partner. Let's go to Next and click it. His partner is Mrs. Average and she's 47 years old. Mrs. Average would also like to retire at 65. She has an income of $40,000 and a current super of $70,000. Both Mr. and Mrs. Average contribute 9% of their incomes to super. Now let's click on the Next button. The results are shown on the coloured block graph. As you can see, retirement at 65 for Mr. Average is not possible, and most people these days realise that. Mr. Average, however, can retire at 68 and Mrs. Average at 65 on an estimated combined annual income of just over $42,000. Now let's go across to the left-hand side of the page and click on Life Expectancy. This estimates that Mr. Average has a 50-50 chance of living past 88 and Mrs. Average beyond 91. Now let's go back to the left-hand side of the page once more and click on Income Goal under Life Expectancy. As you can see, another line with a red arrow pointing up and down has appeared above our graph. This tells us that we have a gap between what we may receive and what we need of over $20,000. This figure is based on the fact that to maintain our current lifestyle in retirement, assuming we own our own home, we will need a minimum of 2/3 of our combined income before tax. Remember, this is just what we need to maintain our current lifestyle. Let's read what the government says about the income goal. Your combined income is now $95,000 per year before tax. Given this, a goal in retirement may be $63,000 per year. You can change this later on, or as I have seen, if you leave it too much later on, that decision will be taken out of your hands. I suggest that you get onto the site, put in your own numbers, make your own mind up on what works best for you. You need to keep in mind, however, that the government estimates are based on the premise that the age pension will still be available when you retire. and that Mr. and Mrs. Average Supers have continued to perform at a steady rate without losing value. It's important to remember the government tell us that this is a projection. It's just an estimate, not a guarantee. You could get more or you could get less. Thank you for our time together and taking the first step in becoming the trusted expert in your own future. In our next session together, we'll talk about what options we have to get ahead, or at least to cover the large gap in your income that the super and the pension will leave. We'll have a look at how financial institutions view you and what you need to do to put your interests over theirs. You can call me direct on 1800 097 522 at any time, or email me terry@onthepigsback.com.au to join me for our next session together on becoming the expert in how to bridge the gap between your super and your retirement lifestyle income.